One more video for tonight. I'm going to be doing a biface. I think I'm going to try to reduce this down. I can't figure out. Well, I think it's a heat treat, right? I can't read this, but it's a Boone County something Cherokee chert. I don't know, but it's interesting stuff, right? I think it might be heat treated, but I don't know. We'll see. I've already tried knapping a little bit, and I snapped it on another biface. It's kind of rough, but we'll see. Steel pretty much can power through anything, so I'm going to do indirect percussion on this stuff. All right. A couple corrections also. After I made the last video, or the video I was talking about Ishii and the way he would align the arrowheads on the arrow shaft, I made a mistake because I forgot Ishii would hold his bow this way and fire the arrow across the top instead of holding it vertical. So he would mount the arrowhead perpendicular to the bow, not parallel with the bow. You know what I mean? He would mount the, in any case, he would mount the arrowhead so it was width vertical. So he believed that would more easily penetrate the ribs of an animal or a deer, you know. But yeah, I had forgotten that Ishii would shoot with the arrow over his hand and hold the bow horizontal. The other thing is, on the Snyders, I was very politely reminded that I'm a little bit wide on the base, which is true. The Snyders that I was looking at was a wide base. I guess what they call it is a Hopewell Snyders, where the notches are more of a side notch instead of a basal or a corner notch. So this base is a little bit on the wide end of the spectrum, right? Should be more narrow. I might do another one just so I can show you what I mean. The notches should be lower down on the sides. Okay, those are the two corrections. All right, so I could go to bed, but I won't be able to sleep right away. So I'm just going to do one more knapping and see how this works out. It does feel like a heat treat. I was given this stuff at the last knapping to try it out. That's always fun, you know. Rock challenge. I guess this is a rock challenge. It's not always fun doing these rock challenges, I gotta admit. But this one seems okay. Yeah. It looks like it's been slabbed on one side, but that could be just a natural break. There's a lot of patina on there, so it's probably not a slabbed piece unless they've been holding on to it for years and years. Then yeah, maybe so. Maybe it is a slabbed piece. Anyway, the trick to these is just to be careful not to take off too much, because it's already really thin. Not to take off too much with each swing. Now, I was asked if I ever tried to do a Sweetwater biface, and the answer is no. I don't have the material for it because you break a lot. I also don't have the technique refined for these large thin blades. I can do large blades and I can thin them down kind of good, 6-to-1, but I can't get, once I get past 8-to-1 or 9-to-1, I start losing interest because they could break at any time. And you have to start being exceptionally careful, which is a little bit too OCD for me. Now, was it possible, or is it going to be possible for me to do those someday? Maybe, if I can develop a technique for it. Maybe, practice, just like I've been practicing pressure flaking. If I practice indirect with a careful manner instead of haphazard and opportunistic, I think I might be able to get them down really thin and maybe surpass my best. I think my best is 9-to-1 with the thickness ratio. I don't know if I think the Sweetwater biphase is like 14-to-1. That is very, very thin. And for a large piece, I have to admit, I don't know if I would enjoy doing it, because it's just too nerve-wracking unless I were to have a lot of material. Don't have to worry about breaking it. I could say, oh well, don't matter. I'm sending flakes all over this porch. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's frogs chirping in the background. We're not that far from a stream. We're on a green belt. What that means is there's water nearby. Lots of bugs too. Lots of wildlife back there. It seems like a heat treat. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can get a biface out of it. Anyway, I was reading a little bit more on Ishii. The thing I was reading was by Sexton Pope. Hunting with Ishii or something like that. It's what do I call it? It's in the public domain now because the copyright has run out. So you can just read a free copy by Saxton, Saxton Pope, Pope. Saxton Pope, Hunting with Ishii, I think that's what it's called, or something like that. Written in 1916 or something. Okay. So this, yeah, I'm just going to do a biface in this video. I'm not going to do anything else tonight. I just wanted to, I was curious about this one piece, and I realized that I had made some mistakes in the other video. That would have bugged me all night. I would have stayed awake for an extra hour, I think, just thinking about that. I probably will do another Snyder's. I still need a lot more stuff for the auction. Well, I want to have a lot of stuff. That doesn't always work out that way. I got a lot of stuff going on. I'll put my finger back here. I don't know how much that helps, but I think it helps to support it when I'm really smacking the front end here. The good thing about indirect percussion is that it removes flakes without shocking the piece too much, because you're doing it very quickly. It's extremely fast flake removal. You remove a flake before it knows what's happening, or so it seems. It doesn't seem to mind these big flakes being removed from the ends if you do it right. If you're shocking the piece and you're feeling it move a lot, you're not hitting hard enough or fast enough, or maybe both. You've got to really get the speed up on the mallet. Okay. This worries me, this flat spot back here, because I don't know how far that crack goes in there. I gotta thin the tip and the base. This is a heavy chert. Not all cherts weigh the same. Not all flints weigh the same. Some are very dense. This one feels very dense. Sometimes the very dense cherts knap really well. This one is mid-grade, or a little bit worse than mid-grade. Just because it feels a little bit crunchy on the edges, but it's still flaking pretty good. Even with a lower than average mid-grade chert, I think I can get a reasonable biface as long as I don't hit a bad spot, or two or three. It looks, so far it looks pretty consistent. Too bad the colors don't survive, right? It's amazing how that works. Looks like it'd be colorful, but you start skinning off the cortex and you get to see what it really looks like. All right. Yeah, that flake ran pretty far. Yeah. Right off the tip. That was pretty good. Makes me optimistic. Sometimes zigzagging is called stitching on the edge. I'm doing it kind of stitching, kind of zigzag, kind of opportunistic. I'm just testing the limits a little bit without shocking the piece. Because I don't need to hit this very hard. It's actually flaking pretty well. Yeah, for you new guys, if you don't know what the material is, if you have a lot of it, then it doesn't really matter how you proceed. You can be careful with it. You can go to town and knock it to smithereens and try different methods. But if you only have like one piece of it, or maybe a little box of it, and you want to be sparing, like 99% of us do, I recommend just taking the smallest piece first from your batch, knapping that to get the feel for the material. Don't start with the biggest piece like a lot of guys. Because I don't want to start with the big piece that will give me a lot of time to adjust. I don't want to work with the small ones, because then, in 10 minutes it'll be over. No, it's better to start with the small pieces first, I think. Knap those even if they don't turn into anything. At least you'll get some experience on what the material is acting like. And then be really careful on the bigger pieces. It's okay if they end up being thick. I got bugs all over the camera. It's okay if it ends up being thick. Just keep that in mind if you're a new guy. It's okay. Thick is okay. Broken in half is what's not okay. So I guess the answer to the Sweetwater biface question, I might do it someday. Maybe. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time developing a technique to create something that's very similar to a Sweetwater biface and have someone say, "Yeah, man, but you used aluminum. You ruined it. Ruined the whole experience." Sorry. I just spent 5 years of my life learning how to make these, and you say I ruined it. Shouldn't bug me, right? Yeah, shouldn't. It doesn't bug me that much. But what do you gain? What is gained by it? Did I just show you how to make a fake blade? Let's say I show you how to do it with natural tools. I figured it out. I got a method. I'm going to show you how to make an extremely thin biface. Did I just show you how to make a fake? Well, no, because you didn't show us how to make it look old. Okay, so stop whining. Well, I showed you half of what goes on. You got to make the thing first before you can get it confused with a fake, or get it confused with a real one. Do I want to take you to that stage? Do I want to? I think about that stuff. Maybe some knappers don't care, don't think, well, as long as you're replicating, you're on the moral high ground. Don't worry about people accusing you of counterfeiting. You're a good guy. You're teaching the old ways. I wish I was teaching the old ways. We don't know what the old ways were. We have a kind of an idea, but we don't know exactly. What are you saying? The new ways are terrible? Is that what you're saying? New ways just aren't right. Is that what you're saying? Something wrong with people that do it the new way? That's what you're implying. Something wrong with you. Not everybody thinks that way, of course. Not everyone thinks that you're doing it the wrong way or not benefiting anybody by using modern tools and modern methods. How do we know they're modern methods? Well, when it's very, I don't know, how should I say, very mechanical. Not very imaginative. Very rigid ideology. What ideology, you might say? Well, the ideology that is the current consensus about artifacts and stuff. What struck me as odd when I first started knapping is I was using natural materials, but I was using them in a way that was different from most people. I was holding an antler tine behind my knee. And I did some demonstrations in the beginning because they found out that I was doing natural tool techniques. But they hadn't seen me knap yet. But they invited me to go do a demonstration somewhere. Yeah, Tom or whatever, he said you'd use natural tools on. They would call me up. You use natural tools to chip these things? I said, yeah. Yeah, come on down. I mean, we're having a little get together with some anthropologists, right? And a couple archaeologists. Can you knap something for us? Sure. A couple times that happened to me in the beginning. I went down there. I started knapping with a tine behind my knee. And funniest thing happened. Some of them would say, hey, wow, what is that? That looks pretty cool. That's actually working. And then the odd thing was, they would look to their side, and there'd be other archaeologists there, and they'd be going, no. They'd be shaking their head, no. What is the no? Come to find out, there's a certain acceptable way to use natural materials. Not only is it only a benefit if you use natural materials, but you have to use them in a certain way. There's no creativity allowed. They want to see direct percussion or pressure or some sort of technique used by Don Crabtree or one of their other archaeologist gurus. They don't want to see imaginative or odd sorts of knapping. They're assuming that knappers get together and they go, okay, this is the way we're gonna do it, guys. I guess that's what they assume. Anyway, I got funny looks from some of the people. I would say 1 out of 4 would think it was cool that I was knapping in an original way with natural tools. But the other 3 would be sitting there with crossed arms going, no. I don't think so. Even though I was producing thin bifaces. No. Not right. It's not advancing the narrative. Or it's odd. Something something's not right here. And I found out it's just not, it's not according to current orthodoxy. It's almost like how should I say? It's almost like a club or a clique. And I did not get invited back to do more demonstrations, even though they would ask me a bunch of questions. What material is that? Is it heat treated? I didn't even know what heat treated was. On my first demonstration, I didn't know what heat treatment was. That's how new I was. Where did you learn that? I learned that from Mr. Frustration. Really? I mean, you couldn't nap the other way? Nope. Couldn't do it. Really? Yeah, really. That's interesting. Okay, bye. That was the response. And with modern nappers, they would look at me and go, indirect percussion? Indirect? I heard about that. Where'd you hear it from? Well, I've been surfing the internet. That's what they're talking about nowadays. Really? Yep. From who? Who's doing it? There's a few nappers doing it. I don't know exactly who it is, but seems to be working. Yep. Seems to be working. Haven't tried it, but it seems to be working. Yep. Same old story. I still get some of that sometimes. Where'd you hear about the indirect percussion? Internet. Do you know anybody making Sweetwater bifaces? Oh yeah, I saw a guy on the internet make one almost as thin. What's his name? I think his name's Jason Newman. Yep, that's who he is. Yep. Jason uses indirect percussion to do the very thin bifaces that he makes. When did he start doing indirect percussion? For like 90% of his napping? Well, pretty much after I started doing it. Funny how that works, huh? Anyway. It works, boys and girls, and if you have not tried it, I think the best way to get you to try it is to say, you're right, don't try it. The best way to get you to try it is like, nah, it's not any good, really. It's odd, it's stupid. And if you do it with steel, you're wrong. If you do it with aluminum, you're wrong. If you're doing it with anything else other than natural tools, you're odd. You're really not advancing the science or the cause. Yep. I've heard it all. Okay, I was doing good there until I started to bite off more than I can chew here. That's going to be difficult to remove. I'm going to have to go narrow, more narrow than this. Let me see. Well, no, I'm just going to stop there because I'm not quite awake enough to tackle that. I'll be better in the morning. I got one more day to make stuff for the auction. It'll be on Monday. I'm not going to start the auction until Monday, and it'll just be for one day. I'll make the announcement tomorrow. Not everyone watches every one of my videos, so they won't see this one. Many people won't see this one. Alright, so this actually turned out to be not too bad. It's a mid-grade chert. I don't know, I might not be able to skin off all this cortex unless I make it more narrow, but then I risk snapping the whole thing. Alright, okay.